So late last night, when I saw those comments from Todd Boehly, I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep on it. I'm not going to be too reactive. I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to let them ruminate. I'm going to give them the due diligence that they deserve, and then we can talk about it. And I can confirm that having done all of the above, that they are the most ridiculous statements that I have heard in football for a very, very long time. What I don't understand from Todd Boehly is, why is there this urgency to change things? Appreciate the beauty of the league that you have bought into. Appreciate the brilliance of the league that you have bought into. You've bought into the league because you love it, because it's already profitable, because it is clearly the best football league in the world. It doesn't need to be ripped up and changed and amended immediately. Just calm it. I backed Boehly. I am so in favour of Boehly. I respect the appointment of Graham Potter. I think it is an astute one, and I think Todd Boehly is getting an awful lot of things correct. But there are some warning signs here. I mean, the Salah and De Bruyne comments are truly ridiculous. The suggestion that we were trying to play a 4-4-3 or whatever it was is crazy. You know, the suggestion that Mohamed Salah and Kevin De Bruyne were part of the Chelsea academy is slightly concerning. And obviously, the rumours that I have chosen to disbelieve, by the way, I'm sure they're true, but for me as a person, I'm choosing to disbelieve that Todd Boehly thought a formation was 4-4-3. These are concerning things. And the overriding momentum that I got from that Todd Boehly conversation, the overriding theme, if you look at the constant throughout that entire interview, it is totally laced with a desperation to acquire as much pie and mash as possible. And that is a real concern for me. Look, if you haven't heard these Todd Boehly quotes, what he basically says is that the Premier League should adopt the American-style all-star game, North versus South, with the proceeds benefiting the clubs down the English pyramid. Now, here is where it gets a little bit murky, and it is my first point of consternation. If you honestly want to help the Football League, there is so much money sloshing around the Premier League already that you don't need to create an extra game. This reeks of the same energy of the Super League. It reeks of the same energy of the 39th game. You do not need to create money. There is already a disgraceful amount of money sloshing and filtering through the English game. This isn't about creating a situation where there is money to give. This is creating a situation where there is even more money. It isn't about creating money. It's creating more money. It is squeezing me and you and everyone with an interest in football out of even more money. And honestly, watch the whole interview. The whole theme, it is completely laced with profiteering. The irony here is that the man speaking and saying that we need to create a new game to create more money for the league is a man who has just spent £300 million in one summer. He's sacked a manager, paid a manager off, employed a new manager, employed new staff, brought him on a very generous wage. So he is fully aware of the amount of money that is around in this league. The amount of money is actually disgraceful. And I think that this isn't a Chelsea problem, by the way. This is a football problem in this country. And if you look at the way that Forest are spending more than Bayern Munich, or if you just look at the total spend of the Premier League and compare it to other leagues, it is so distasteful, it's vulgar, and it's horrible. Even if you can use any example. Use Anthony, who Manchester United signed. Really good player. Manchester United knew that they paid too much money. They knew that they were ripped off, but ultimately they didn't care because they know that they can generate more money and they can do the same again next year. Basically, Premier League clubs have the ability to launch themselves into Europe, spray their money distastefully all over the continent, recruit the best personnel, and make the money back the following year. The money is here already. We do not need an additional game. Despite everything that Todd Boehly has said there, the money is here. We do not need to create a situation where one game generates 200 million quid. We have the money. If we honestly want to help the football pyramid, which I'm totally in favour of, do it. Boehly has also said that he would like to see a 4-team tournament at the bottom of the league rather than the straightforward relegation for 3 clubs, and claimed that the Premier League could learn a lot from American sport. The Premier League, the most successful football league in the world, could learn a lot from American sport. Now, that may be true, but Todd Boehly is a man who has never worked in European sport before in his life. He has landed here and he has put himself into one of the most important positions in the league. He is the sporting director of Chelsea Football Club. I think that when you land in that position, you should be fairly modest. You should be looking to learn yourself. You should be looking to improve yourself. There are experts in the field and you are not one of them. So surely saying that this league could learn from America, it's slightly not in keeping with the nature of the position that he's found himself in. Now, of course, I am of the opinion that everyone can learn from everyone. Every day is a school day. I enjoy being in didactic situations where you look to improve. The person that I was when I was 20 isn't the person I was when I was 30. You are constantly evolving and everyone has a story to tell and everyone should be listened to. So, of course, on some level, the Premier League could learn from America. The Premier League could learn from everyone and everyone could learn from the Premier League, and that is how the tide rises. The tide rises all ships. So yes, of course, there are lessons from the States that the Premier League could learn, but I would also say that there is so much that Todd Boehly could learn from this league, and the desperation to squeeze every pound, dollar, yen and Deutschmark out of the people is so unnecessary. The principle of football, at least in principle, is not to exploit fans and to profiteer. Football clubs are so much more than that. They are worth so much more than money. The point of football clubs is not financial gain. That isn't what they are made for. That isn't what they represent. That isn't what they are about. And I think Todd Boehly, yes, of course the Premier League could learn from him and the States. But I think Todd Boehly could also learn some valuable lessons about the essence of the Football League and what it's about. It's about heart. It's about pride. It's about community. It's about friendships. It's about commitment. People who dedicate their lives for no reason other than the love of their football team to their football team. They spend all their money. They spend everything they've got following their team. It isn't about profit. It is about community, friendships, and heartbeat. So this desperation to sell really does need to be nipped in the bud immediately. And now, just to the principle of an all-star game. This is so wrong and not in keeping with our traditions. I genuinely couldn't think of anything worse than my team's players lining up for a different team, a team that in theory I am supposed to support, alongside rivals who I am also supposed to support, in order to do what? In order to have a swift cash grab. I am meant to support Mason Mount in a team with Harry Kane. I'm meant to celebrate Harry Kane scoring a goal because he represents the South. This is absolutely ludicrous. Do you genuinely believe that there is any world where Manchester United fans are going to celebrate Mohamed Salah scoring a goal for the North? Do you honestly believe that football fans will be that easily manipulated? There is a principle that will never allow certain football fans to celebrate moments that aren't directly linked to their team. And long may that continue. Football is about pettiness and rivalry and one-upmanship. And I truly love it. In its very essence, football is about rivalry. We don't represent the South. I have nothing in common with an Arsenal fan simply because we're from the same city. I have nothing in common with a Southampton fan any more than I do somebody who's a Liverpool fan. It's truly ridiculous. It doesn't work. It is completely and utterly bonkers. Todd Boehly also said something else that I thought was quite troubling. He said that you never say hard no's to anything, and that includes a Super League. Now listen, Todd, there are some things that you have to say a hard no to. For example, adults who read Harry Potter. You say hard no to that. That is completely unacceptable. The other thing that is totally and utterly unacceptable and worthy of a hard no every single day of the week and twice on a Sunday is any conversation around the Super League. This is completely and utterly non-negotiable. Some things in life do honestly require a hard no. And this is one of them. The concept of the abomination that is the Super League requires the owner of Chelsea to deliver a firm, hard and passionate no. This isn't about, you can explore it, or there's different components that already exist of a Super League. And that, no, the answer to a Super League is no. This statement has been made by Chelsea fans and by the wider football community already. What's going on? After Liverpool beat Ajax last night, Jurgen Klopp was asked about this, and I thought his retort was absolutely fantastic. Do you know what it felt like to me? It felt like it was a football man talking to somebody who wasn't a football man. Klopp got it. And I imagine that's how conversations have gone at Chelsea with various employees who are clearly football, and Todd Boehly is learning. And if you look at the difference of approach here from Jurgen Klopp, who is football, in a way that I'm sure you are if you're watching this video, proper football, Todd Boehly isn't that. You know, Todd Boehly 12 months ago would have never heard of Mark Cucurella. It's impossible. So Todd Boehly isn't a football man by the very definition of the word. That doesn't mean that he can't contribute massively to football, but he isn't a football man. And Jurgen Klopp's retort was clearly that of somebody who gets it, who is football. And I think that we get an insight into how various conversations at Chelsea will have gone. Jurgen Klopp was asked about this, and he basically went, he hasn't waited long. Oh, great, maybe he can find a date. It's completely different in America. Does he want to bring the Harlem Globetrotters as well? He forgets, in the US, they have a 4-month break. Did he really say that? Interesting. I think that is how anybody having this conversation in a pub from Land's End to John O'Groats would have honestly thought about this. So I think that Jurgen Klopp basically encapsulates the feeling of football fans around these suggestions. It's just wrong. And I just wonder who is advising Todd Boehly. Like, the reason I was so pro the Boehly bid was because of the advisors, the people that he surrounded himself with. True football people, Daniel Finkelstein and the like. They were clever appointments, astute appointments. So I just think that Todd Boehly really does need to tap into and think about how football fans feel about his comments. Because, as I keep saying through this video, I'm on board with Boehly. I think he's getting a lot right. I love the Potter appointment. But these are troubling. And all this talk about the multi-club model and such like, you know, I find Red Bull, Salzburg and Leipzig quite a distasteful proposition. I don't really like the way that Manchester City have gone about their business in New York and Australia. That isn't what football clubs are for. That isn't what football clubs are meant to represent. So I think that we have some things to concern us, but I also do believe that Boehly will get it right. Very interested to hear your thoughts on this. Am I overreacting, or do you think I'm onto something? Some of the comments from Boehly are worrying, aren't they? The 4-4-3, Salah and De Bruyne being the jewels in the crown of Cobham. Oh my God. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It does massively help me out, just so that I can monitor the kind of videos that you like. I can do more like this. Obviously, if nobody likes it, you'll never see it again. And as always, I would love it and appreciate it hugely if you would consider clicking that subscribe button. Thank you so much. See you in a bit.